Okay, so making your media player intelligent. What does this mean? Well, pretty much I'm going to start with an overview of what we've seen in media players in the last 5 or 10 years. Almost all of us have used media players on some platform. That's kind of like how you listen to music, at least historically. I'll talk about the web later and web media and all that good stuff. But pretty much for the last, 10 years, Winamp, XMS through to iTunes and stuff, there hasn't been much change when it comes to how you interact with your music, what you're looking at when you open your media player, and all that stuff. So here's just a quick overview. This is, I think, the Windows 7 version of the Windows media player, the small player icon thingy. It's pretty much, the same thing that we've seen for the last 10 years. You have your cover of the track, you have the control and your volume. That's pretty much it. This is kind of the whole, full screen window. Essentially, you can still only see your collection and your albums. You can scroll through them, and it's pretty much what we all expect from a media player. But it hasn't changed. It's gotten shinier. We got drop shadows, and now you can have a custom list view with a picture next to text instead of text only. That was the Windows 7 thing, right? Which is pretty cool, but it's still not that interesting. I could have seen this a long time ago. And then Winamp, which is also one of the original players. This is the state of the art, skin, some popular skin for Winamp. And it looks good. It's blingy. It's transparent. You can see your screen, your background, etc. But once again, it's not really any different. Here's just some more examples. Looks like iTunes, right? You have your weird double thing on the top and your playlist on the left. Probably of all of the players that you have on the platforms, Windows and Mac and Linux. Well, this is for not just Windows and Mac. The most evolutionary, I would say, has been iTunes. We have the store, the music store, that's changed how we buy music online, how we find music. And we also have their new Genius stuff. I don't know if any of you have used iTunes much, at least the last 2 versions since last summer, the summer before, I guess. But it has this recommendation system called iTunes Genius, and they have Genius mixes. So this is what it looks like. This is my own collection. It's pretty big. It scans through your whole library and talks to the Apple servers where it sends all your play history and whatever you have, along with all the other iTunes users, and then it tries to figure out something, who knows what. But it creates these compilations essentially, which are you choose one, and it just plays songs nonstop. I'm not sure. There's supposed to be, I think, kind of genres, but you can see from the covers there, these are all one random collection of songs I have, and it shows that one cover for all those, and it's all the same kind of music. So it sucks essentially. It doesn't really do much. It's trying to be intelligent and play ooh, we notice you have a lot of punk rock in your collection, so here's a punk rock station from your own database. But I haven't really had it work well for me at all. So it just shows you what they're trying to do. And of course, they put a lot of money into trying to give you a list of things that you should buy, since that's how they make some money. So they've certainly put a lot of developer effort into trying to recommend songs and albums to you, which actually seems to work pretty well. I actually by chance have some of these albums and know them, and there are kind of what I would buy anyway. So I guess this is better. But this is still very targeted. You have to kind of browse to the store, click the My Recommendations link, and then you get to this. So I'll just take a quick detour going on from what Frank was saying this morning about Web 2.0 and media players into the cloud. There are these projects. There's Groove Shark, if you guys have used it. There's Pandora. There's Spotify. So I guess besides Pandora, Grooveshark and Spotify and Lala now, they're like these online collections. You sign up. Some are free. Some cost some small amount of money. And you get to play your music. You get to play a lot of music. There's this big database. And it's all streaming. And it's cool because you can, like log on wherever you are, whatever computer you're on. And it's nice, But there are a few problems with that. One of which I don't think it's very sustainable in terms of like a revenue model for the companies. Some of them have gone out of business after a while. Some of them have closed down. I mean, I'm pretty sure Spotify is still like not profitable. I mean, they have a lot of like money behind them, but I don't think anyone's found like a viable revenue stream to like survive based on this service, which poses a problem in the long term at least, because they can be cool tech, essentially, but I don't really see it being established. Furthermore, if you have like a media player, like your own like device, like your iPod or your open source based media player thingy, you can't put songs on that from like Spotify or Grooveshark or something. So you have to own the songs to be able to transfer them to your media player, which of course could be worked around if you have some like streaming service subscription on your phone or device, but for now, you can't really do that. It doesn't really exist, I don't think.
There is a Spotify iPhone app, which I don't remember. I saw a video. I don't know if it was a demo or the real thing, but it seemed
okay.
Pretty well.
Cool. Yeah, and Spotify's not in the US yet. Hopefully soon, but it's not in the US yet.
Rhapsody has a streaming service, which and I've been a subscriber of it for like 3 years now.
Cool.
It's real solid, and it's competition that you should keep your eye on. I think they could take over.
Yeah.
It's like $10 a month, but does what I think a music service ought to do.
Right.
And they've been around long enough that it must be sustainable somehow.
Right. I guess the problem is they don't have a lot like name recognition. I guess like no one of my like non-geek friends has ever heard of Rhapsody or like a real player. I guess they also don't use Windows, but. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of problems in terms of like getting your name out there and becoming established on a platform. And then, is there like an iPod client, like Apple client for Rhapsody and stuff?
Yeah, there's an iPhone client, and then they also do a thing where you can, with Verizon, you can actually transfer music from Rhapsody onto your phone so that you have it in like offline mode.
Cool. I should look it up. I haven't spent much time on it. But what I wanted to say was that it seems like kind of to reinforce Frank's point from this morning, is that we can provide a lot more value to the user if we can bring the web into the desktop and provide a more rich experience with what we have out there without having to like throw away what we've got on the desktop itself, without having to lose what we've already built, without losing all the benefits of your own application running. So I'm pretty much going to talk about two problems, which are kind of what I want to solve in like a media player. But the first half really is this, which is that there's so much music out there, and so much more is coming out all the time. I mean, there's just no way to keep up with all this music that's being generated. And there's like a ton of it. I mean, just trying to find new music that I know I'm gonna like, it takes more time than I have to spare in my day, really. Just like browsing through a physical record store is a bit overwhelming, just because it takes time to walk through all the aisles and like trying to figure out what you want and all that. So the kind of first half of this is how do I hear new music that I like, because there is music that I know I'm gonna like out there. I just can't find it yet. So what do I want to hear, essentially? So there are a lot of, I think, different ways to approach this problem. Not that I think it's a problem that we should solve as developers of like an application. I think there already is a lot of help for us out there. So, I mean, just to start with like Last.fm, for example, if you've been scrobbling your tracks, so if you've been giving them all your tracks that you've been playing for the last like X years, they know a lot like about you, which is a bit scary, but they also expose all that back to you. and they have a lot of like stuff that you can do with it, and that they do with it. They run their own like similarity analysis to try and figure out what things are similar to like other things. And there are people who say that's not very accurate, and I'll talk about that a bit later. But there are also kind of more hardcore like music similarity algorithms that try and calculate how similar songs are. There are a lot of different ways to visualize similarity and try and like extract some information from songs. Like I spent a few minutes trying to find these things, and there are like hundreds of different programs that all like analyze your music and draw some sort of connection between them in some way that is supposed to like mean something. And who knows? I mean, it probably does, but there's just so much out there. Like that's supposed to be some sort of graph which links up various artists and genres to tell you what else you might like in a different genre. It's like what you like. So the point is, there's a lot of data out there. There's this company called the Echo Nest, which is like a small startup that all they do essentially is try and gather all the knowledge about music that's out there, period. All sorts of knowledge, from the actual song analysis, like the tempo of a song and the whatever else of a song, to what blogs are saying about this new artist that just hit the scene recently. There's just a lot of stuff out there, and this company's role, essentially, they kind of gather all in one place and then sell it, because they're like a closed source company that just sells this kind of gathered data. But it's all out there, and I'll talk about them more later. But this is essentially what I think our goal should be, is to try and take some of this intelligence that we have out there that's available to us and bring it into the desktop, into the application, to provide more for the user. And there have been some like attempts to make the player more intelligent and make it easier to use and help you choose new music. On the right is this closed source binary like beta plugin for Songbird called Soundbite, which, like what I was saying before, it scans through all your music. It runs some music analysis tool to extract something from your tracks, and then build playlists that are similar, from that. That's pretty, I think, like standard in a certain sense. Like, they've been out there for a long time. They've been tried and tried again, and I'm not sure if they work or not. I haven't played with them myself because it's not released yet. All I could find was like one screenshot of it from the guy's thesis. So, and then on the left is Amarok. That's actually a playlist with a bias based on Echo Nest data that I wrote this summer. And just last week, I added a bias that will like let you choose 2 dates from the time that you've been giving your song plays to Last.fm, and say like, play me more songs from like this date range in my history. So like, if I want to know what I listened to like in the summer of '06, just because I feel like it, you can say, oh yeah, like these 2 dates, like play me this stuff that I would like to listen to then. Because that's all out there, and last time, and we've had in Amarok like play my similar artists from Last.fm, which like uses Last.fm to play songs that are like what you're currently playing for a long time. So you've probably seen that. And there are also some closed source Windows players. There's one called Muffin or Muffin, I don't know how to pronounce it, which is essentially like this right screenshot here. It just like tries to grab all this track data and like let you browse it in some semantic way and like show you what's relevant and what's similar to it. So it's all out there. Yeah, it's out there and it's available to us. Both Last.fm have like a pretty intense API, so is Echo Nest, but no one's using it that I can really find. There isn't a lot of intelligence built into most media players, and for sure not like iTunes, Winamp, Windows Media Player, ones that are actually used by most people. But here's like a quick list of just some features. This is, on the left is the Echo Nest API, and the right is Last.fm, and a lot of potential information that we could use that we aren't really. There's actually a lot more available that will be available soon from the economists on the left. They're opening up more similarity analysis to the world. Yeah.
So if your music is badly tagged or not tagged at all?
That's a problem, because then we don't know what you're listening to. That's also, I think, a separate problem that has a separate set of solutions. There are algorithms to help you tag your music. There's a tagger, called Picard, which is essentially like a Music Brains client tagger that you scan your collection with, and it tries to match that based on like the hash of the song to the database that they have. So I'm going to assume that you have your songs well tagged, because if you don't, you should, I think, deal with that first. And it is a big problem if you have no tags, but I think most people have at least some tags in their songs, and if not, you can add them either manually or through a player, through a program like Picard. And we could also add something like that in the media players themselves. We haven't had the Anemra because no one's written it yet, but somebody could. So that was the first half of the problem, but we're still stuck with this problem, because once you know what you want, say you can somehow find what you want, or you want to hear this, how do you listen to it? Where do you get it? Like, how do you play it? Is only the other half of the equation, essentially. So you're still stuck with the problem of, how do I play this song now, or this artist that I've just heard about, like this blog I just read has told me this is like this artist, so I want to hear it now. We're not quite there yet. We still can't play it. All we have is this name. And the song is probably out there somewhere, essentially. There's a lot of music in the cloud that's available. People upload songs everywhere all the time to link to on their blog, on their site. There's a lot of music that's available to us. Probably like one of our friends has it. If you have friends who like music, they may have similar taste. They may have artists that you also like. So there are all songs that we wish that we could play and we know are out there, but we just can't get to, really, or like not how we want to. So there's this project called Playdar. I don't know if any of you have heard of it. I know some people have, but it's pretty cool. It's founded by this guy who began Last.fm and Artist Scrabble. Well, the Artist Scrabble part of Last.fm, and he left this summer. And it's a music content resolver. What does that mean? Its job is to find you the song you want to play. So you tell it what you want to play. Its job is to play you the song. However, it can. It has pluggable resolvers. So you could have like a Last.fm sample tracks resolver. So if the track you want is able to be played from Last.fm completely, or even like a small sample of it, that'll show up. There could be like a Spotify resolver. So if it's available on Spotify, it'll also show up in your results. There's like a LAN-based resolver. So if anyone on your LAN who also has Playdar running has it, it'll just work. There's also a like peer-to-peer resolver. So if any one of your friends has any friends who has friends, etc., who has the song, it'll get streamed back to you. And you won't know where it comes from. All you'll know is like the last step in the hop, like your friend itself, himself or herself. So just a quick diversion. Playdar, to give you some more background, it's a local web server. So it's some super lightweight server that just sits in the background like as a daemon. And it's really designed mainly to be interacted with like inside your browser. Your browser becomes kind of like attached to your media player, because say you're like browsing like some web page, some blog, I don't know, and you see like some track, you just press the track name and Playdar will play you the song, because it knows the song now and its job is to help you find and play it. So by itself, that kind of like is a small self-contained solution, but they're trying to, they being the developers of Playdar, to make it more standardized. Because there are are potential ways to use Playdar to save money for these big streaming services like Pandora, Spotify, Last.fm. Since they're paying to stream you each song, right? They're paying the label to stream you every song. If you already have that song and they're paying the label to stream you that song, they're wasting money, clearly. Since you already have it, you can just play it yourself. With Playdar, Playdar can take care of that, and if you have it, like that'll work. Like it'll play it from you, and if they have it and you don't have it, it'll play it from them, and they'll pay for it. But essentially, it'll just save them a lot of money playing you songs that you already have, which you aren't playing now. Because now, if you're on Last.fm, all the songs you hear are being streamed and paid for, even if you have them already. So there are ways I think that it could get much more ubiquitous, essentially, if it's picked up by these, I think, like large labels, and from all kind of small amounts of information that I have, they are all in talks with Playdar. So it may actually happen. That would end up with like a pervasive way to talk to all these content providers. And it's not a problem if it's not free, I think. I mean, if I can hear a song that I know I'm gonna like, or that I'm not sure if I'm gonna like, but if I can hear it and then have the option to buy it, I have a much higher chance of buying it than if I just hear this album name, like, oh, that is a song that I'll probably like, but I don't know. Then I may buy it if I'm feeling like I want to spend money on music at the moment. I also may not, because who knows if I'll like it or not. So if you have like a built-in music store to your app, and for a lot of these big stores, they don't want to let you own the music until you buy it. Obviously, you can't have like a full track like preview on like iTunes or a lot of these closed like DRM stores, because that would kind of defeat the whole purpose. But if they kept the track and they allowed you to play it through Playdar, they wouldn't even have to like have any like DRM. It would just work, and you could hear it. And then if you want to buy it, buy it. But if not, you don't have to. So if you can kind of like merge the web store and play on demand with your own local media player, we can kind of earn money both ways. I think it'll make the experience of buying music from the player a lot better, which turns out to mean more stuff being bought and more money for both the player itself and the service. And I want to just mention telepathy, because what Ian said today made me think about it. If you can have a telepathy like bridge in your media player, say, who of my friends are online, and talk to him and like play me stuff that he has, just like right there in your player, like that would be awesome. Just be able to like browse your friend's collection, not only browse but have his collection show up in your own search and in your own browsing, so you don't even know who owns what exactly. It just works. You can just play it, and that tied together with the first half of the problem, which is finding songs you don't know about. If any of your friends have it, and telepathy can help you get your friends connected to you without you having to work hard. Say like your friends in your like Jabber client, or like GChat have Playdar. It would just work. Playdar knows who your friends list are. It connects to them through like Equinest or Last.fm. It tells you what songs you want to play, and you play them without you knowing it. You're playing your songs, tracks that you like, that someone's told you you might like. And we're not too far from that, essentially. We're pretty close. This is a like bare bones prototype Qt 4 client to Playdar that RJ wrote or is writing. The only reason I'm showing it here is because it is in Qt and it is working, which means it's a lot easier for us to use in KDE and to integrate well, because if you can search your collection in Namrock and it populates it with songs that you don't even own, that are maybe only on AOL Music or the RJ has, that'd be pretty cool. And it could also be tied into a much more like pervasive fashion in all of KDE. Say like your Twitter plasmoid had, say your friend tweets about some song and you click it, and then KDE will search Playdar and start playing it somehow. There are a lot of ways to leverage that. So that's essentially the underlying goal. This is my last slide, but play me what I want. What do I want? I don't know, but I can find out from these services that help me find what I want. And then how can I play it? That's the point of Playdar or any other service that can help you find that. So yeah, that was just a quick overview of, and this is also not done yet. This is kind of what I've been dreaming about, what I'd like to implement if I had time, pipe dreams. But, it's possible and it's all out there. We just have to actually do it. So, yeah. Questions?
There seemed to be a sort of gigantic host of legal issues around all of this.
Like,
Well, everything from the legal status of having a friend of yours press a button on his laptop and play a song for you is not entirely settled. And certainly, having a friend press a button and have the music sent from your laptop to his and then played through your speakers, that's pretty likely to be illegal without a specific license.
sure,
It seems like there would be a sort of spectacular amount of these things with this sort of an issue.
To be fair, yes. It's also, it depends what country you're in.
I also have response.
Yeah.
Well, iTunes, the latest version, I'm pretty sure, because I was just messing with you the other day, has like home sharing, which is what this is. You can, any computer that's on the network, the connection, you can't exactly copy music, but you can stream, and you can play across the network.
Right. Giving a friend a CD is also illegal, in some countries. Like, it depends how, I don't want to say it depends how strongly you follow the, way the law is written, but there are a lot of things that are illegal, and I think there are a lot of ways to abuse the system, but I don't think this is abusing the system. Sharing your songs amongst your LAN, you can already do that with legal tools that large companies support, which implies that it's not something which is being not tolerated, Peer-to-peer is not in that category, obviously. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that the analogy with normal music is, it's fine if you play something in your living room when your friends are there. What is not fine is playing music in a mall and stuff.
Right.
See, that's the difference.
I'm not even sure if you're allowed to play music as there are friends in your
You're not. Well,
Probably not.
It is. It is.
Yeah. It is.
No, it is, of course.
Well, it's not legal for movies.
Of course.
No, it says on the moving box.
Right, but
That's not a public showing.
Right.
not something
You
that's
can't open a theater and put a DVD in.
private.
Because it's like 4 people versus and you're not charging anything, right?
Well, I think the main point is there's like AOL Music or whatever. There's all these, YouTube has tons of music, and I think YouTube has some sort of clearance for all that stuff. There's tons of free music out there that has someone paying like a radio license for.
The point of Playdar isn't to, subvert, copyright measures, right? Certainly at this point, it could be used for that, right? But as Ian just said, the whole point is there already exist these sources of legal music out there, right?
Right.
And what Playdar is trying to do is bring it to you in more.
Right. The point to work with the system, not to work against the system.
Do you see the ads then that these things are supported by?
The what?
The ads that support some of these services, are they still shown?
You mean Spotify, for example? Or I'm not sure what you mean exactly.
Like on Pandora, where it's ad supported if you're not paying. They still show up the adverts and stuff, or are they hidden?
Wait, you mean well, I'm pretty sure Pandora's closed completely. You can't use Pandora as a result of Playdar.
A few of the ones I've used in the past, generally they have the little banner ads.
Right.
And they're supporting their service. I was just wondering if they're still shown, or are they?
I don't know, especially also because Playdar is very young and not very developed yet. It's 6 months old. And I think there are a lot of things to be ironed out still. So I'm not sure how that would work.
The concern is that one of the things you focused on was that you wouldn't need to know where the ads come from. I guess the concern is that in many cases the people who have some interest in music, either people you're getting them from and or the copyright holders and or the creators, et cetera, might rather care a lot that you know where they're coming from. And sort of the challenge between whether that's about sort of erasing that information is not necessarily something that a lot of musicians or services might be comfortable with.
Yeah, sure, but the point still stands that they are working together with Player at the moment. So there obviously is some sort of rationale for them to be involved. I mean, like, since, even though you don't always care where it's coming from, it can tell you. Like you just saw here, like, it shows you where it's coming from. Even though it'll start playing and you'll just go, oh, that's what I wanted to hear. And then it'll show you, oh, it's from AOL Music, or, provided to you by the iTunes store, you can buy it here.
The point of not caring where something is coming from means I don't care that it comes from AOL Music, right? But it'll tell me it's coming from AOL Music. The difference is I don't have to go to the AOL Music website directly, right? To go
and search for it and find it, and then
it's not caring about where it's coming from. You can just throw the question out there, hey, I want to listen to this, and then it comes to you and it tells you where it comes from. Sure, with like an ad and like an option to buy it, but you don't have to specifically go to this website, which you may or may not have. That might be track.
Yeah. So, anything else? Cool. Well, thank you.